Because at the end of the day, this is about national security, economic security. It's going to ensure the United States leads the world in the industries of the future.
Something extraordinary has happened to the chip race between the United States and China recently.
美国滥用出口管制措施，阻碍芯片等产品的正常国际贸易。
While the United States has strengthened its commitment to rebuilding the industry through a pledge of nearly $200 billion to chip-related manufacturing projects, China has abruptly paused its 1 trillion yuan or $143 billion government investment in that industry. According to Bloomberg, top Chinese officials are discussing ways to move away from costly subsidies that have so far borne little fruits and encouraged both graft and American sanctions. China has neither confirmed or denied the Bloomberg report. But internal reports in August of last year revealed a flurry of anti-graft probes that had been launched into many of the top industry figures. One such figure is Ding Wenwu, General Manager of the National Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund, nicknamed the Big Fund by people in the industry circles. The Big Fund is the Chinese government's official vehicle for managing their colossal investments in the chip industry. It invested $45 billion in capital and backed a host of companies, including China's chip-making champions, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp., and Yangtze Memory Technologies Company, both of which were crippled by U.S. sanctions. According to Bloomberg, the Big Fund is likely to lose its stature as a result, and Chinese officials instead are asking local semiconductor material suppliers to cut prices to provide support to their domestic customers. China may also choose to divert its limited state capital towards selective areas that are relatively nascent and where no one nation can claim dominance. And now on to today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. In 2020, there were over 5 million car crashes, and that's more than 15,000 a day and 600 an hour, a shocking number. When injured in an accident, you can be entitled to much more than you might think, so hiring an attorney is one of the first things you should do. When it comes to legal representation, size matters. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, with over 800 attorneys in 49 states, and has recovered over $15 billion for their clients. And Morgan & Morgan's fee is free unless they win your case. If you're injured and don't know where to start, with Morgan & Morgan it's so easy. Morgan & Morgan has modernized the injury law process. You can submit a claim without ever having to leave the couch. In 8 clicks or less, you can submit a claim to Morgan & Morgan. You can sign documents, upload pictures, share medical records and doctor bills, all from your phone. You can even text message your attorney and case manager without having to go into an office. So, if you were ever injured in an accident, check out Morgan & Morgan. In 8 clicks or less, you can have America's largest injury law firm fighting for you. You can get started at forthepeople.com or dial pound law, that's pound 529 from your cell phone. This retreat shows China's reluctant admission that the whole-of-government approach to developing advanced technologies that can compete internationally has failed. America played its part in the downfall of Chinese chip development, to be sure. The broadened ban on exporting advanced chip-making technologies to China prevented key partners, including the Netherlands and Japan, from exporting needed chip-making machinery to China, smothering an emerging industry. Yet, there is a more intrinsic reason why China is failing in its ambitious chip endeavors: a stifling of true innovation. This stifling of innovation stems in part from the funding structure within the Chinese government. In China, all major funding is controlled and distributed by the Chinese Communist Party. Anyone who seeks major government funding must be part of the CCP system and become a party cadre. The higher the rising rank within the CCP, the more funding is available. Those outside the party will gain little funding or support from the Chinese government. But joining the party comes with greater expectations than just getting your name on the party roster. Once Chinese tech insiders join the CCP, a new way of life is imposed on them, and their primary goal becomes making money for themselves and their inner circle. How? By steering projects and government funding to their own people and taking huge kickbacks. The chip corruption cases involved key executives of the big fund, as well as the heads of the companies that received the biggest payouts from the big fund. The full circle of payouts and kickbacks. In addition to crony corruption, powerful local vested interests also fund chip projects in the hope of receiving similar subsidies. According to analysis by the South China Morning Post, some 15,700 new Chinese semiconductor companies were registered between January and May 2021, 3 times as many as in the same period last year. A Chinese media outlet, Xingdao Global, reported that many companies in industries ranging from construction and cement to garments and even pharmaceuticals have switched to chip manufacturing. The result is a large number of unfinished projects and shutdowns. In 2020, official media reported that there were at least 6 unfinished projects nationwide, each with an investment of billions of dollars. Will China's chip development challenge be solved if resource allocation improves? Not quite, because a larger problem at the heart of China's innovation challenges is a lack of long-term vision. In 2019, I interviewed a big data and AI scientist at Huawei, China's largest and most powerful telecommunications company, which at the time was poised to take over the global rollout of 5G. He told me that despite Huawei's achievements, an atmosphere of eagerness for quick success pervaded the company. While Ren Zhengfei, the company's founder and CEO, would publicly encourage new research, he was likely to cut off funding if there were no notable achievements within 2 years. This pattern has led to constant innovation at Huawei, but mostly at the application level. That is, innovations that can produce immediate results and make immediate money for the company. No one is doing the long-term R&D that leads to world-changing technological innovation. This pattern is not unique to Huawei, but rather a norm of how Chinese society operates under Communist Party control. Great innovation comes from free and curious minds. Such minds need nurturing. For all its dazzling skyscrapers and emerging smart cities, modern China is incapable of nurturing such a mind, precisely because the system produces, to use the metaphor of the English writer and theologian C.S. Lewis, men without chests. Plato used a metaphor to describe the 3 parts of the human soul. He said that human reason and logic is a person's head, moral feelings are the chest, and desires are the belly. C.S. Lewis uses this analogy in The Abolition of Man. He says that modern education produces men without chests. He also devised the methodology of creating such men into 2 categories. One category defines moral sentiment as irrational and incompatible with the scientific spirit, and therefore to be discarded. The other category is to replace the moral sentiments that human beings cultivate during their natural growth with propaganda that instills a specific ideology. Although manifested to different degrees in different cultures, these 2 approaches are prominent in China. In the first approach, China's test-oriented education reduces the process of an old bird teaching a young bird to a process of a breeder feeding a poultry by removing the sentimental experience of exploration and adventure. The result is that the birds often lose the ability to fly. With the second approach, the party has successfully used the propaganda to instill in the minds of the people a sense of loyalty and gratitude to the CCP, after excluding gods and transcendent truth.
全党要坚定道路自信、理论自信、制度自信、文化自信。当今世界，要说哪个政党、哪个国家 哪个民族能够自信的话，那中国共产党、中华人民共和国、中华民族是最有理由自信的。
It is a sentiment that, combined with a sense of achievement derived from China's economic success in recent decades, has led the Chinese to develop a strong sense of national pride. This pride is reflected in their worldview and cosmology that they can control and conquer nature. Under this belief, the Chinese people become laser-focused. Since there's no starry sky above our heads, we must keep our eyes on the realistic interests at hand. For the true meaning of life is to achieve the greatest benefit at the least cost. Dreams and passions are impractical and expensive, even silly, so they must be discarded. C.S. Lewis says that the consequence of such an education must be the destruction of the society that accepts it. And there's another problem. If we lose our curiosity about the stars, I wonder how we will get through the long, dark night.